Hi everyone, welcome to a literature loving, comics loving, middle school loving edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. On this episode, I am delighted to be talking with author creator Jason Platt. Jason,
Hi
welcome.
there. Thank you
Hi.
so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming. I think that we have some things in common here. We're both Jasons, and I'm currently sporting a Star Wars t-shirt, and you have some Lucasfilm shout outs in the background as well. I think we have a similar, we occupy a similar timeline, I believe.
Yes, I think we do. Yeah, where
Yeah.
it really encapsulated our imaginations and sense of adventure and whatnot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If folks out there are wondering about your books, I usually mention a couple of titles at the beginning. So you have the series Middle School Misadventures, which is a
Yes.
very, very attractive visual storyline. And you also have Mr. and Me as well,
Yes.
collections of
Mr. Me
comics.
is actually the basis of what Middle School Misadventures actually became.
Love the process. Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Um, and I love graphic novels, comics for kind of the middle school, upper elementary audience. It's just such the perfect time. What
Yeah.
connected you to comics and storytelling?
Well, it's really funny because when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of graphic novels for us to read.
Hmm.
There were like comic book collections. There were I read Mad Magazine, but that's not really a graphic novel. It's a humor satire magazine. Um, and so the only things that we had were comic books. And so it was one of those situations where they were violent. There were tones that were not appropriate for my age at the time.
Hmm.
And even at the time when I was reading some of these, I was like, I shouldn't be reading these. Um, and if graphic novels were what they are now, then I would have just loved it. I would have dug everything I could get my hands on. But at the time, really, like the only things that really inspired me were newspaper comics,
Hmm.
Saturday morning cartoons, and uh, I would devour Peanuts or Charlie Brown, Garfield, Beetle Bailey, and when I got older, Mad Magazine and Bloom County. Those were my staples of character and humor with illustration within it, and also film, because I feel like comics, whether it's cartoony or comic book, it's very cinematic in how they tell a story. And so I kind of like incorporated all of that into it. But I really loved, I guess like I loved being entertained, and I love the magic of how these creators just whipped up something out of thin air. It was a magic trick,
Yeah.
and I wanted to learn the magic.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. So as you make that move from sort of reader to creator, what do comics let you do in telling stories?
It's I guess kind of what I was just said is like I got to kind of make my own movie, and I didn't
Hmm.
have to I didn't have to rely on a cameraman or a lighting designer or a gaffer or sound person. It's all on you, and you get to create how it looks. You get to create the emotions. You get to be the actor as well. And while it's a lot of hats to wear, it's also a lot of fun to control every aspect that you look at.
Hmm.
But it's
Hmm.
also one of those things too, where it's like, at least what I do is that you can be just a hair more exaggerated than, let's say, Bruce Wayne being surprised, because Bruce Wayne is so gruff, he might just go
Hmm.
like, with a
Right.
surprise. But with my characters, you can believe like just be really exaggerated with the eyebrows and whatnot. And I think that's what's also really fun. You can be more elastic
Hmm.
with the expressions.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that the realism in comics is great, but I do love the kind of cartoonish, there's a really nice symbolism in it sometimes too that you can kind of dig into.
Absolutely. Well, as I've said before with like friends and family, it's like as much as I love the movie The Polar Express, the realism of it is also its hindrance
Hmm.
because I feel like we are all humans, whether you're artistic or not, and there are times when they move and you go like, that's just not right. But when you look at like The Incredibles, which came
Yeah.
out around the same time, there's something almost more realistic about them, even though they're not rendered as, real.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I can almost relate how they move more than the Polar Express. And I love the movie, but that is something I've noticed.
Yeah. I'm also going to point out that both of those films are somehow 20 years old right now,
Oh,
which
I
is
know.
just like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
Um, but about 20 years ago, 17 years ago or so, I started a career as an educator, and my first job was as a middle school teacher. And I know that you are a person who creates in particular for this audience. Um, so what makes middle school kind of this special place that you wanted to craft for?
Well, it's crazy because it's my original comic called Mr. and Me. The character Newell is perpetually 5 years old in it.
Hmm.
And when it became an idea to put Newell in middle school, it was one of those things where it's like everything just opened up. And it's a time in your life where your family still means a lot to you and you need them around, but you start to rely on your friendships. That's where your friendships really start to solidify, and you can talk to your friends in a way that you can't talk to your mom or dad because your friends and your peers are going through a situation the same time you are, and you're trying to navigate this awkward growth in your life. And
Hmm.
uh, kind of taking in it's not taken directly from my life, but you can't help but write things that you know. And while I haven't gone through the exact situations that Newell has in my books, I have experienced similar things. So, like in Operation Hat Heist, Newell gets his favorite hat stolen, and he wants to get it back. Um, while I haven't had that particular experience, I did have something stolen from me when I was in junior high, and the feeling of the broken trust is, I think, universal for anybody.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I literally just took that experience and just kind of elaborated on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots there to relate to. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things too. It's like, and certainly nothing wrong with these other books, but Middle School Misadventures is more of a slice of life type of a story,
Hmm.
and there's no superpowers or dragons or sword wielding in these particular books, and which almost makes it more challenging to write
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're grounded in realism, even though they're cartoony and elastic.
Yeah. Um, so speaking of the fact that it's a series, curious about what's next in the world of creating, what you currently have your eyes set on as a creator, and then of course spaces where people can connect and see what the work is all about.
Absolutely. So, I'm my next series that's coming out next March-ish in 2025 is a new graphic novel series called Pet Detectives.
Oh,
Uh,
nice,
it is
nice.
a it is a cat and dog mystery solving team where you have Perlock and Marlowe, and Perlock's arch rival is his name is Meowy. And if you're
Nice,
a Sherlock
nice.
Holmes fan, that makes a lot of sense. But I am currently penciling the second book right now, actually.
Oh,
It's a lot
it's
of
right
fun.
there on the table. Is that right?
It is right here. I
Awesome.
wish I could
Awesome.
show you.
Oh yes. No, no worries, no worries. Well, that's very cool. Glad to hear that there's another series on the way, and I love the all ages kind of aspect of what you do too.
Yeah. And you can find me at my website called middleschoolmisadventures.com. You can find me on Instagram to see some of my other artwork, Jason Platt underscore cartoonist, I believe. So you can find me out there. And I love showing my work to people who are in the field, but also emerging writers and artists as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Jason, thank you for the time. Thank you for creating work that young readers can enjoy and that can be on classroom shelves and in classroom libraries. And glad to talk with you anytime as you're working.
Thank you very much, Jason. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Jason.